Now, okay, I'm gonna start with the question right away. I'm gonna add the intro later. So, hey, Whit, how are you doing today?
Doing well, doing very well. How about yourself?
I'm a little tired and but really excited. Hopefully, this time our recording doesn't crash. So,
Yeah, yeah.
that's yeah. So, do you want to introduce yourself or take a minute to talk to who about what you are and what you do for people who don't know who you are?
Yeah. So I'm Whit Anderson. I run something called Badunicorn, which is a kind of a product studio and a newsletter. So every other week we drop a bad startup idea or a funny product to our audience, and currently we're in the process of trying to grow our email subscriber list. And so far we've dropped 16 products in the last 8 months. And we're like keeping on that cadence of kind of dropping funny projects.
That's amazing. I've been going with, I've been going with and Badunicorn for a while, and I love all your products.
Thank you.
There's something that they're hilarious. But in reality, they're actually super funny and they're just this new this funny idea which you wouldn't think of it normally in real life.
Yeah,
And the best part about this is when I learned that all of this is made without code. Like,
yeah,
okay, at one point, it's surprising that you're building this in the first place, all these wonderful ideas, and then what makes it even more surprising and awesome is that what and how you're making this idea.
yeah.
So yeah, I guess as we hear about today, we talk about the no code economy and honestly your experience of building Badunicorn.vc. So I guess we can start from the question right away. So I want to ask you more about why are you building Badunicorn? Like, where did the idea go from, and why are you staying on the project
hmm
right now?
Yeah, I guess the why was I built a project kind of a while back, maybe a year ago at this point, called Random Pizza. And the premise is pretty simple. You sign up $20 a month, and you get two pizzas delivered to you at a random time during that month. Kind of through that project, I kind of realized like these are the kind of projects I like these fun, wacky, weird projects. Maybe they're not Uber, or maybe they're not like the biggest idea ever, but they're kind of funny. And so I kind of found like a niche of like these are the products I like, and so like I built Random Pizza in like 2 days with like no code, the first version of Random Pizza. And so I was like, why can't I like do this like every other week? Find a way to like I've got tons of ideas. I have a habit where I write down like 10 ideas a day, and a lot of the times they're funny ideas or gag ideas. And yeah, so I was like, why can't I do this more than try to grow like an audience in this way? And so I guess kind of the why as far as like in the future is going to be a bunch of different things. Like the goal is to like have Bad Unicorn as a brand that has like a big audience. I think that's pretty important for this because it's difficult to monetize bad ideas or funny ideas. Some monetize, but most of them probably not. So growing like an audience and doing different things with community, or doing different things with courses, or kind of teaching other people how to build these ideas, whether it's for a serious product or for like a funny project they want to launch. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of the vision.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you think about it this way, on today's economy, on content creation online, is all about finding the right passion and value, And
hmm
you're right. Your battery card might not be the next Uber, or the next Postmates, or the next next. I'm trying to think of an idea. I can't think of anything right now.
hmm
Though I'm not gonna fill in the blank. You can fill in the next whatever company it is, and it's just a it's a random idea, and it's all about creating something you're passionate about. So
Yeah.
that, and I think that really ties into the whole idea
hmm
of everything. And I think one of my favorite products on that you've made has to be, I'm trying to find it, the Elf Chat. I find it super hilarious. It's it's like it's like the funniest thing I've ever seen. and then I haven't seen much. So I want to know, how did you build that?
Yeah, so that was trying to think Elf Chat. So we built that in a landing page maker called Card. So CARRD.co is the website for that. We use Lambot to do the kind of automation of like Buddy the Elf, kind of talking to you via like a chat app. But there's a bunch of good like chat apps that are good substitutes for that. And then we use probably like Figma and Canva to do a lot of the design aspects of it. Trying to think there's anything else. Maybe Typeform
So,
if yeah.
since the entire stack is basically no code.
Yeah, no code on that one at all.
There, there is no like actual code involved in the product.
No, not a line.
That, that's actually really surprising because it's built. People take it for granted. I actually talked about this a while ago in another episode, which should be here now.
Hmm.
Though I think if you think about it this way, people don't think how powerful no code is. Like it gives
Hmm.
if you think of it at an idea and a standpoint of view, you wouldn't think that no code is that powerful. And it's not your fault. It could just be how you stream code or how you just learn about these ideas. Though I
Hmm.
think no code really isn't is taken for granted in a way that people don't really think about it in a way. For
Yeah.
example, how did you build Unslack? I want to know because I know, I feel back. I keep on asking, how did you build it? But the reason I'm asking this, I'm trying to prove a greater point. So I'll let you explain. I'll let you know what I'm going to try to explain after you're done explaining. So can you tell me
Yeah.
how you built?
Yeah. So Unslack, let me make sure I'm not missing any of the aspects, but on Slack, it's the same. The stack is pretty similar for a lot of the projects. For our websites, we either use Card or we use Webflow. So certain templates are more difficult and require some uh, like custom design elements, which is like which Webflow is better for. And then if it's more of like a simple landing page, we use Card. And even still, Card can make some crazy websites too. But yeah, so with Unslack, we use Card. Uh, we used pretty similar, probably like Canva for a lot of the design, Figma for some of the design to make some of these custom solutions. But this one is kind of more of a uh, kind of just like a proof of concept instead of like we built out like a Slack app. But and then
So
we also
my question is, my question is, the gift did you actually make like an entire spreadsheet that actually work like Slack, or is it just like a animated?
yeah. So we did play around with it and we found some ways to do it where like we'd have to put in like some custom like script in the Excel spreadsheet. And so there is like a way to do it, but it's not like pretty. Like it still kind of looks ugly in practice. So we kind of like instead of like launching like the Google Sheets product, we kind of like did the like Wizard of Oz, like this is what it would look like, and kind of more
If
the
you bought it,
yeah, well yeah, the idea was more just like just kind of like think through like kind of over engineering of like there's these like all these solutions out there and like people are like, over engineered into like Slack, and Slack's a great product, but there's a bunch of different products that like kind of get the job done.
honestly, I think that's really interesting because you know me or anyone thought I to think that no the stack you would have would be really confusing, because some I feel this is my opinion and this is my old opinion. I really found no code more confusing than code a while back. And that I think it's about the what you see out there because there's so many different ways to build no code ideas and products that people and the more people that go in the mainstream way, and there's just some platforms out there that people that don't know about. There's
Hmm.
software, for example, you have Pori, you have Figma can be help you with Canva, Webflow, Card. You take these platforms for granted because you wouldn't really think that the first idea or the first sense of concept can be actually be made with
Hmm.
that. Just
Yeah.
like Bubble, if you want to make more like higher value products or no
Yeah.
code. And I think that's really interesting. So this is my other question. Do you think the no code economy will grow in the future?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think the number of like no code, and some people don't like this term, but like no code, like software engineers, and there's like software engineers who like actually write code. Um, yeah, that number of no code software engineers is going to grow by a crazy amount. Maybe more like uh, than like software developers. Just because it's like the barrier to entry is just so much lower for like no code. Like you can build like a crazy app in no code in like a week, and it would take like months for a developer to like write it out via code. So just through even just that, like there's there's going to be a ton more no coders. Yeah, and I guess the one thing that's interesting with no code is there are so many tools out there, and so when there's not just like one central tool to use, there's like just more confusion where it's like, oh, like what's the best landing page maker to make? What's the best mobile app builder to use? So it gets a little more like muddled, but for the most part, as long as you like pick a couple tools that get the job done, you can stick to those tools for a long time. There's pros and cons to using one landing page builder to the other one, but as long as you're like building and shipping product, like that's really all that matters. Oh, she might be on mute.
That's embarrassing.
No,
I'm
you're
so
good.
sorry. I got to read everything. And then it's interesting because I think myself the no code economy will grow in the future sense because there are a lot of people here online where we all want to create content, right? And I think
Hmm.
that's what really powered the economy and everything online these days. Is that
Hmm.
whatever platform you go to, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, it doesn't matter where you go. There are people hustling and making content what they love, and I think not code isn't for everyone. It can be confusing, difficult. It could be surprising. It could be any of the above. And the whole idea of, and I think no code will provide a solution to people who just want to create products or just ideas that they have in their mind. I think if you think of it in a logical sense of the future, the growth,
Hmm.
I'm thinking how to phrase this properly. I think the no-code economy will grow. I think there'll be more people getting more products in the space and more people who even know how to code just building
Hmm.
no-code products. Because I think no-code is one of the future aspects of how people create content in the future. So we lead me to my next question. Why did you build Badunicorn with no-code? Like what is it? This question is a little confusing. So let me explain it properly. So instead of only focusing on no code, why don't you try to build anything with just code or like minimal low code?
Yeah. I guess the simple answer is just that like me nor my co-founder know how to code. We know like minimal stuff. Like we've taken like some simple like HTML and CSS courses, but nothing where we could do anything that special with it. So it's just like it's just a constraint, and so the constraint was like we don't know how to code. Like what do we do from there? Like there's this thing called no code that's getting big, and around 2 years ago we kind of both uh, found out about no code and started learning how to build, and now we're able to kind of build at such a rate that we can build a product in 24 hours. Our last product drop, Coinbase, we literally made in like maybe like 23 hours was when like we said let's do this. Then we implemented it, and then we launched it at 5 p.m. on Friday. Um, so yeah, that's something that's like yeah would not be even close to possible for like a developer to like go from scratch. I mean, maybe they could. Like this is a pretty simple landing page, but um, yeah, it was
I
just
think
no
the
code made it
idea,
easy.
if you raise that point, I think if you were to build this landing page, it would take a while to build with actual code.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking at the elf chat, and
Mm-hmm.
the gradients that are on it, the design, the images, how it's spaced with the grids. I think this would take a while to like actually code, and
Mm-hmm.
it would take. And I think in this way, logical sense, it makes sense that we have this built with no code. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I agree with your point in that case because in that sense it makes sense that people will prefer no code to because people don't know how code. And some people might know minimal coding here and
Yeah.
there. So just code is, as I said my last response. Code isn't for everyone, and that shouldn't stop people from building their ideas or making
Yeah.
what they're passionate about. So I think that's an interesting approach on how you're building it. So
Yeah.
congrats on that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go over a few product of yours, and instead of I just want to know what is the idea behind it and how is it done in the sense with your community. So the first product I think, which is really interesting, I want to ask you is you built this, what is it called? Elon stocks. It's a
Hmm.
funny product in the sense of it's how Elon tweets, and I think it's really smart. So can you tell me how you built it?
Yeah.
And actually, with that, can you tell me what was the process of that idea, and how did you honestly, market the idea, or like sort of idea, validate the idea to people
Yeah.
that,
So
oh, I built this Elon stocks notification website.
yeah. So for Elon stocks, this was one of the ones where we kind of always have ideas in the backlog, ones we want to build out, but we're also kind of like always like looking at Twitter and checking like what's the trend that's happening. Is there anything like big happening in tech or in the world that we could build a funny product off? And so we had an idea we were going to do, and then like all the Wall Street bets drama happened and Robinhood craziness, and so we're like during this time we saw that like Elon Musk was tweeting a lot about stocks, and whenever he tweeted about a stock, it shot up like within the same day.
Literally, like, yeah, literally grow. And I think that's a nice idea, because if you think about it in a way, it came exactly at the time where it was at its peak,
Yeah,
right? And you came at the exact time, and you even marketed at the right time, which makes it even more awesome. I think this is one of the first products I saw. I think it was Unslack, and then this one I actually saw. And I always thought that this was built with code. I thought you're using some API or some system, and I didn't know until a while later that, oh, this is built with no code.
yeah,
And so how do you build this?
yeah. So kind of same as before. We use cards for the landing page. We use Twilio to send the text messages. So then kind of to communicate with that, we have like a Zapier. So Zapier pushes the numbers to an Airtable. So that's our database is Airtable. Then we also use a tool called postsheets.com, and that's the way we do bulk messaging. And so, yeah, this was an interesting one where it's like the code versus no code. No code has difficulty in like just scaling because you have all these like you have like set accounts where you can have X number of limits, and with Elon stocks, like it got a ton of traffic in like in the weekend and the first 2 weeks, and so like all of our apps, like all of our things were either breaking or like going over our limits. So like we had to upgrade like 3 times within 2 weeks, which was
So do you think it was worth it building that product and finding a new audience, or how do you feel about that?
sorry. One more time with that question.
I said, do you think it was worth it, like upgrading the servers, building and working on top of a new audience,
Yeah,
or was it okay? That makes sense, because I think that was the first part of I think that really blew up in the part that more people saw it. That's really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
So I want to ask you about your thoughts on, let's find an idea. What is the most fun part? What was the most fun product you've ever made that you
Hmm.
love?
Yeah, most fun product. I had a blast. One thing that's fun about Bad Unicorn is every like person has a different like favorite product for the most part. Like if we ask 10 people, like it might be 10 different projects, which is kind of fun. My favorite one to build was um, probably something called Mindflow, and that was kind of like a headspace meditation parody. And so that one was super fun to build. The idea was
Oh
fun.
man,
Writing the scripts were fun. Um,
I
probably,
love I
yeah,
I love mind space. It's really funny. Honestly, it's like it's this idea how you made it, mind flow. It's like it's so surprising.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
that one was fun. And then Elon Stocks was probably that was the one that was like the kind of like the biggest, just like whirlwind, where like I don't know, at any time like there was something like new happening for 2 3 weeks. And I mean, people like we had like paid customers, which is cool. And we've had like some smaller transactions, but this is one that has like some pretty solid MRR and yeah, stuff something that we can like run with longer. So that's probably
that.
the biggest success.
Yeah, that really makes sense. I was trying to download the one of the audio files from Mindflow so I could post share it on the episode, but it won't let me. So I
Oh,
just
okay.
gonna.
Let's just take the time to.
Anyways,
Yeah.
do you hear that?
Yeah. Yeah. I heard it.
Okay, so I think Mindflow is honestly one of the most awesome products I've ever seen. It's hilarious and it honestly goes with how the internet is going right now. I think my most favorite and awesome audio file was this one. It was the one I'm just gonna forward a little bit so you can hear it.
Apple Media Services terms.
That one was really funny.
Yeah.
I want to know who read that. Like how.
Yeah, so we had a guy named Edmund who we have a mastermind called 0 to 1, and so this is kind of where Bad Unicorn started in this mastermind. And there's a guy named Edmund who's got a great voice. He's a podcast host of the Codeless podcast, but his voice is just pristine. And so we collabed with him on this drop, and he read out most all of the meditations, which was really fun. And it was, yeah, the hardest part was writing like good scripts. I thought that was going to be kind of easy, but it was like really difficult to like write. Writing's not my strong suit.
Mm, yeah, I can see. Oh, I accidentally got rid of my camera. So I think that's really interesting because in the point of I think the Apple one was really surprised finally because it's the whole essay or the
Age
first
requirement in your home country.
it's really interesting. The more you listen to it, if I know even though it's supposed to be a joke, it actually gives you insight of how Apple works. So that's
Hmm.
funny that way. So we're almost near the end of the episode, and sadly, this has to be a short episode. So I'm just gonna ask you a few
That
more
works.
questions.
Cool.
Yeah. So, pardon?
And that sounds great.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you. So sorry. Ready. So the more I think about Badunicorn.vc, the more that reminds me of MCCF. So can you tell me more about if you're in how you feel about that, or like how
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on MCIF?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Mischief is they're crushing it. So they've been definitely like when we started Bad Unicorn, like Mischief was someone like we were like looking at. They're dropping products every 2 weeks. They have like a ton of funding. Right now we're super lean, so we have no money, and we're building these projects, trying to keeping that same cadence of every 2 weeks. I think they've raised like over like $11 million or something. So yeah, they've made some
Wait,
really cool
you're telling
products that have gone
you're
viral.
telling me that it is $11 million?
Yeah, Mischief has raised that much. I think something around there, maybe more. Um, yeah, and so they've definitely been they focused on um, like kind of culture and like these like products within like the zeitgeist of culture. So they've done, um, yeah, they've done amazing, and definitely we like take inspiration from them. And then I would say one thing that's a little different is they go like more like political on certain things, or I don't know, more topics that we probably wouldn't build products in that realm. We're just trying to build like fun products that like hopefully most people enjoy. Some of their products are like polarizing in a way, but that gets clicks and it gets views. So um, yeah, it's just awesome.
It works. So as long as it works, right? I think their products are like really surprising in the fact that their ideas are amazing. Like they're practical things. They're just really the way they actually built it and the way they made it. So they had, like for example, they made a font, right?
Yeah,
The Times
Times Newer.
Newer,
Yeah,
and and then sorry, I got disconnected for a second. And time zero, and it's really funny, like how they made it. I think you have a point. I think there's a huge difference between both of your products, though it's just really funny and surprising about how it works. So that's really amazing. So,
hmm
but almost I have more questions before we go. So my question is that what are your thoughts on the creator economy?
the Twitter economy.
Creator economy.
Oh, creator economy. Gotcha. I guess the thoughts are just like it's definitely the future. More and more, uh, I guess more and more kind of like value is going to be created from like these individual creators, people that are creating individual courses or paywalled content um, or individual like SaaS products, like indie hackers building a Calendly competitor or something, and the products being like pretty close to the same, and people choosing the indie hacker over. So I think, yeah, I think like indie hackers, like the creator economy is going to be uh, for sure more and more popular, and that's I guess why a lot of like VCs are backing tools that help creator economies or economists either make money, grow their audience, manage, operate like their business. Yeah, so I think yeah, all signs kind of lead to like there's going to be more and more like individual creators or small companies or lifestyle businesses that are created. Yeah, which is awesome because it's kind of like where we're at right now. Oh, you might be on mute.
Darn it! I'm so sorry.
No, you're
I
totally
think it's a really
fine.
interesting idea editing. And I think the creator economy, if it wasn't for the creator economy, this podcast wouldn't exist. So, that's a plus. Though I think
Yeah,
the best idea of the creator economy is I think the creator economy will improve in the future because it lets people, no matter who they are, no matter what they do, what they love, create content.
yeah, for
And
sure.
I think not everyone has funding, not everyone wants to build. And I think that's a wonderful idea with Badunicorn.vc. Honestly, these days it doesn't matter who you are, what you do. Anyone can make content, whatever from TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, D-Live, any platform there is in the world. And I think that what makes the creator economy so special. And I think that what makes Badunicorn special because it's built on top of how the world works and exactly on the creator economy.
hmm
And that's what I want to thank. So I want to thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to start episode. I
no, this is
I
great.
really hate to start episode. I'm trying to test out this new idea for sort of small written episodes.
Yeah,
So let me know your feedback on the show, everybody, and thanks for joining me. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And bye.
yeah. Thanks so much. I had a blast.